Hello everyone! These projects are exciting, aren't they? To make them, you'll need tools. There are two main groups of tools. These tools need electric power to work. They are called power tools. We'll look at these a little later in the program. These are hand tools. You hold them in your hands when you're working with them. Look at what he's holding. It's a paddle boat. To get the shape of the boat, you'll need marking out tools. These are tools for marking out. What do you think this is called? It's a marking knife. Let's see how it's used. The knife has a sharp cutting edge, so use it with care. What do you think he's holding? It's a marking gauge for marking out parallel lines. How were these lines made? Ah, the lines were made by this spur. It's sharp and can hurt you. The marking gauge is used on wood. But what if you want to mark out lines on metal? Which tool would you use? Yes, that's right. You use a scriber on metal. Like the marking gauge, the scriber has a sharp point. Handle it carefully. Do you know that there is a special tool for marking circles on metal? It's a pair of spring dividers. See how sharp the points are? So do be careful. You'll also use different types of saws in the workshop. Saws are cutting tools. These saws have very sharp teeth. If you're not careful, you can cut your thumb. This is a hacksaw. If you use too much force, the blade may snap and you may hurt yourself. This is a different saw. It's a tenon saw. Clamp your workpiece so that it will not move when you saw it. This tool that looks like a shoe is also a cutting tool. It's called a smoothing plane. It has a sharp cutting edge. We use it to make the wood smooth. This looks like a simple tool. It has a cutting edge too. I wonder how it can be used safely. Oh, this is how. You place both hands behind the cutting edge so that you'll not cut your fingers. We've seen a number of tools. They're all very useful, but they must be used correctly so that accidents will not happen. Do you think this pupil is using this screwdriver correctly? What do you think will happen to him? Ouch! Looks painful, doesn't it? You wouldn't want that to happen to you, would you? Let's look at the correct way of doing it. That's the right thing to do. Well done. When you use hand tools in the workshop, here are some things to remember. Always check the handle before you use the tool. If it's oily, wipe off the oil. When using a sharp tool, always make sure that your hands are behind the cutting edge. When you have to use a lot of force, always clamp your workpiece. Always use the correct tool for the job, or you'll not be able to do the job well. And if there's anything you're not sure of, ask your teacher. It's important to use tools which are in good condition. Let's see what could happen if you use a tool that's in poor condition. Now, look at these two hammers. Can you tell the difference between them? The head of hammer A is loose. If you use it, the head could come off and hit you, or someone else. Ouch! Which of these files would you use? This file has no handle and the tang is sharp. You may cut your hand if you use it. See the crack in the handle of this file? It could break any time if you use it. Ah, this is the file you should use. This hacksaw has a damaged blade. If you use it, the blade may snap and you may get hurt. So, can you remember how to use hand tools safely? Use the correct tool for the job. Make sure the handles of these tools are not oily or slippery. Make sure that your hands are behind the cutting edges of sharp tools. Learn to hold and use the tool properly. Use a clamp to hold your workpiece if necessary. Here's a fun way to remember safety.
Hey everybody, I got something to say. What you gotta do in school every day, it's about your safety, and whatever you do, you better listen well. It's important to you when you're in the workshop with some work to do. Listen to what your teacher has to say to you. Don't fool around, just obey the rules. Always be careful, safety is cool.
Now, let's look at the power tools. Do you know what this machine is? Yes, it's a drilling machine. It's used to make holes in your workpiece. When drilling, loose pieces of metal may get into your eyes. So wear goggles to protect your eyes. You can make holes of different sizes with the drilling machine. You must choose the drill bit of the correct size. Fix it in the chuck. Then, tighten it with the chuck key. Remember to remove the chuck key before you start drilling. Here's another power tool. It's a scroll saw. It's used to cut acrylic. It has a thin blade with very sharp teeth. So do be careful when you use it. Look, he's wearing goggles too. I wonder why. Oh, I see. These acrylic chips can hurt you if they get into your eyes. So, wear your goggles when you're using the drilling machine and the scroll saw. Let's look at another power tool. It's called a buffing machine. We use it to polish acrylic. But before you turn on the machine, wear your goggles. Ah, he's put on a mask too. Do you know why? So that he'll not breathe in the acrylic dust. This is the mop of the buffing machine. You polish your workpiece at the safe area of the mop. Let's see what happens if you do not use the safe area of the mop. Oh no! We don't want this to happen, do we? So always be careful. Do you know what this machine is? Yes, it's a strip heater. It can get very hot. So always wear thick gloves if you don't want to burn your fingers. If you leave the acrylic on the heater for too long, it'll melt and catch fire. So always be careful. Protect yourself using goggles, a mask, and gloves. Pay attention to what you're doing and watch out for moving parts that cut. Switch off the machine immediately after use.
Well, maybe you heard of the 3 blind mice. You're not one of them, so protect your eyes. When the drill's secured, remove the chuck key. An important message to you from me. No welding machines, they're not playthings for you. When buffing and heating, you gotta know what to do. Well, whatever you need to protect yourself, it's good for you, your friends, and everybody else.
Let's see. What else do we have to remember when using power tools? Ah, yes. If you hear funny noises coming from the machine, switch it off. Tell your teacher at once. Make sure your hands are dry when you touch the switch. If you see exposed wires, tell your teacher immediately. If an accident happens, quickly inform your teacher. Now let's look at one example of carelessness in the workshop. The chuck key isn't removed. What do you think could happen if he uses the drilling machine? Discuss with your friends and your teacher. Let's see what could happen. Ow! That hurts! So, do think of safety for you and for me. Remember your ABC. Always be careful.
There are safety rules that you must obey. How you look is important every day. Check with your teacher in whatever you do, and just remember safety for you and them too. Keep tidy and clean, that's what your teacher would say. Wasting tools in place at the end of the day. Won't it be so nice when all work is done? If everything is back to when you'd begun. So my friends, hear me out and keep this in mind. The safety rules are easy to define. Do what you gotta do, but remember the rules. Gotta always be careful, safety is cool. ABC, don't be a fool. ABC, safety is cool. ABC, just remember. ABC, always be careful.